it may interest you to know that the same process that is required in frauding people is exactly the same process that is required to start a business. But why did some people go the route of scamming people instead of using that same procedure to start a business? And this is what we're going to be talking about in this video, and why some go the negative route and why some goes the positive route. And so this is it: fraud and business. To do fraud, the number one thing you have to do is to look for a client. And to do business, the number one thing you also have to do is to look for a client. You look for someone that may be interested in what you want to propose. And then going ahead, the number two things, the second thing a fraud does is to offer a bait. But a businessman, what he does is to offer value. That's just the major difference. One offers a bait, promise on what he can deliver on, while someone offers value, what he can deliver on. And the process continues exactly identical, in an identical format. Negotiation. A fraud keeps negotiating based on the bait that he has offered, trying to build trust, trying to convince his potential victim that he is going to deliver based on the bait that he offered, that this bait is genuine, that this bait will be exactly as the potential victim wants it. And that's exactly the same thing that happens in business. The third step is also negotiation, where there will be a negotiation of value. The businessman will try to convince the client that he can deliver at maximum point what is value, the value that he is proposing, that he can deliver on his promises, trying to build trust, trying to negotiate based on this value. And that's the third thing that happens. And the fourth thing that happens is agreement. Agreement based on this bait, an agreement based on this value. And then that happens. And of course, the same thing in business. You keep repeating this for each client. You keep repeating this for each client. Repeat this for each potential victim. Because not everyone, some people will discover during this negotiation that you are trying to scam them and they bail out. And some people will also discover during this negotiation that you cannot offer the value that you are proposing as a businessman, and they're going to bail out as well. But there is one thing that also happens here. You use the experience that you've gotten through this client, you use it in approaching the next client. And that's the exact same thing that happens in business. So there is actually the same process that is involved in frauding people and also in starting a business. But why do some people now go this negative route of scamming people instead of using that same skill that could have been used for business? Why are they now using it in a negative manner? And that is MS, mindset. The mindset is what distinguishes between people who go to fraud and people who start a business. And what develops this mindset is primarily one thing: lack of confidence. A scammer lacks confidence that it can be accepted based on its value. He doesn't really believe that he can offer any value. But the truth is that everybody has 1, 2, 3, or 4 values that they can offer. But a scammer does not have this belief in the value that he has, that anybody will be able to accept him based on the value that he has. A scammer lacks confidence in his value, and then if he sorts to manipulation, that the only way people are going to accept him, the only way people are going to listen to him is when you manipulate them. Lack of confidence in your value. But a businessman is full of confidence and he believes in his value, and then what he does is make proposition. One resort to manipulation, one resort to proposition. A businessman resorts to proposition. He believes in himself so much that he will not approach you with his value and you are going to reject him. And that's why some things come up in business cycle. Target audience. A businessman knows he just needs to find his target audience, and then his proposition will be too good to be declined. He so much believes in his proposition that, okay, yeah, if I propose this to anybody, it's so full of value that they will not say no. And that confidence is what builds their mindset. And what fraud does not have as well is self-respect for himself and respect for others. He doesn't have respect for himself or for others. And sometimes this is a distinguishing factor between them. But the mindset, lack of confidence, is the exact thing that makes up this mindset. Lack of confidence or full of confidence is what makes up this mindset that allows some people to go into fraud and some to start a business. Lack of confidence will make you manipulate people because you believe that your value is not good enough to be accepted. But full of confidence will make you believe that your value is too good to be declined, and then you make propositions rather than manipulation. And the last thing I will talk about is it takes creativity to defraud. It really takes creativity to defraud, because all these are what's also involved in starting a business. It takes creativity to defraud, but lack of courage to build. People who defraud lacks courage to build. They are scared of building, which also comes to lack of confidence in their mindsets. It takes creativity to defraud, but lack of confidence to build. The truth is that people who scam have the potential to start a business and be successful at it, but they just need to develop the mindsets and also believe in their values. One example of someone who turned from fraud to becoming a successful businessman is fraaaurrd, who is a master forger, forging check of millions, impersonating a lot of people. He does this for a long time until he was caught and eventually arrested. After his release, he partnered with the FBI and started working with the FBI, and also opened a consultancy company where he helps these consultancy companies, multinational companies, to prevent themselves against fraud. What he used to defraud is now being used as a consultancy business. So you can see there are a lot of different stories about people who turn from drug, start doing legit business, people who turn from being scammers, fraud. After leaving prison, they turn a new leaf and start doing business the right way, and they became very successful at it. It's your mindset that can make you believe that fraud is the way. The truth is that if you can do fraud, you can do business and be successful at it. This is Entrepreneur Hub, and this is a new series that I just started called Insight, and hopefully see you in subsequent series. Thank you.